You are watching
In the
Xirtus.
Math of Madness, which is I think is written by Clive Barker, but it's kind of like talking about Stephen King a
Do you
lot.
read Sutter Kane?
Yes. So what's his name?
Sutter Kane.
Sutter Kane. I take as Stephen King.
Oh, of course. That's got to be admitted. I mean, I don't know how it couldn't be.
I
That's so
don't know if he
story.
didn't. I don't know if he has admitted that, but that's
Probably, I would
basically like,
imagine.
and that's what Lisi's story is about too. The one that's on Apple TV that we were just talking about earlier, where he goes down to the pool and picks up the myths. Like the people who are trying to kill him are the ones who are obsessed with the stuff that he does, like in the same Mouth of Madness kind of way.
Right.
I mean, I think he did. I think if you look it up, I'm not a pro on this as I am about him getting hit by the van, but I'm pretty sure that he was attacked by a stalker at one time. Stephen King.
He had a stalker situation for sure, which I was the inspiration for Misery or something, or maybe it was
I
afterwards.
know. I'm pretty sure it's the Dark Half and the Lisi story
Oh yeah.
because he
What
calls
is
them
it?
Deep Space Cowboys.
I love the thing with the dark half and What About Bob, but we've talked about it before. I don't know if we need to go into the whole thing, but remember in What About Bob when the daughter's going on the boat and she says I'm going to go on something Stark. What is his name? Like what's the main character in the dark half?
Oh,
Something Stark.
I can't remember his name. I just
I don't
know.
know, but she says the name in What About Bob when she goes, "I'm going to go out on something Stark's boat," and that's how. So the dark
George
half,
Stark, Richard Stark,
right?
George
Thank
Stark.
you. Yeah. So this is the
Directed by George Romero.
so this is the subtext of What About Bob. It's the key to understanding What About Bob is actually the dark half because Bob Wiley is whatever Leo Marvin's dark half. Like Bill Murray is Richard Dreyfuss's dark half. So like, and it's his everything that he's repressing because he's a Freudian psychologist, and Bob Wiley represents the Jungian perspective of the shadow. So he's having to face his own shadow. So the whole movie of What About Bob is him fighting with himself, which is the reason why there's a meta narrative between What About Bob and what's the other one? Groundhog Day. So Groundhog Day is all about him having to face his own shadow, right? So they're
Oh
really
yeah,
the same movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that's like you can see right
Misery,
here in the
Misery's
picture
the
when it's
same thing, right? She's obsessed with his book, but she doesn't really stalk him, though. I guess.
Where did you
right, but
share this
like here
picture?
when he says I'm in mourning for my lost childhood, when Leo's like, why is it that you always wear black? Like and he's like obsessed with death. So it's the shadow. So everything in and about his family is reflecting things
Right.
back to him that he doesn't want to look at. And it's culminating with Bob marrying his sister, which is in Freudian terms, like that's his big issue. So that's why it's like the pinnacle of everything. So he's doing the death therapy and then he ends up catatonic. And what brings him out of that catatonic state is the marriage of Bob with his sister, because it's as though his own shadow is marrying his sister, which he
So that
freaks
would
out.
be Dreyfuss, right? Like
Yeah.
at that sync node would be what follows Dreyfuss, and like
Yeah.
his spin. Oh, because that's why Dreyfuss is in Jaws. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Absolutely.
So Schneider plays his angle to that sync node, but Dreyfuss plays it from a different angle. You see
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh yeah, completely. I've tripped out on it. Absolutely. And that's the whole thing is
That's
that
a little
Richard
kid from
Dreyfuss
Hook
doesn't he's
too, huh?
afraid and he doesn't want his daughter to go out on the boat, right? He doesn't want to like he's still that same archetype from Jaws in a sense, but it's like he's already been through it. So he's just like his first
Yeah.
movie I think was The Graduate, right? Richard Dreyfuss. Like he just shows up and he's like, "You want me to call the cops?" You know what I mean? Like and it's
Oh well, he's definitely in American Graffiti. He,
right, but that was I think Graduate was before American Graffiti,
I
no?
don't know, that
I think
whole
so.
time period
But
is
but American Graffiti is super
wow.
symbolic too because the gang that he's getting jumped into is the Pharaohs. So you
Oh
have
yeah.
like the Jewish guy getting jumped into the Pharaohs, you know what I mean? And what is his initiation? He has to take the axle off of the cop car, right? So yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's like him going up with the aliens.
Right, right,
Double.
right. It even sets it up for like the rest of his career is that he's like getting jumped into
Right.
Hollywood in that movie. And
Yeah,
also
yeah.
consider this is like before, or no,
That
this
would be
is
the
after
shadow
He
again,
Takes
though, right?
1138, right? This is his next movie.
That would be shadow work, right?
Absolutely, yeah, completely, totally, yeah.
So
Richard
yeah,
Dreyfuss
this
had
is
some
more
weird stuff
blatant.
recently, right? Like you remember
Oh
about
yeah,
What
although
about Bob
yeah,
Poster does it, man? That like that whole depiction of that's really blatant with the shadow symbolism.
well, this is the thing, actually. Good point, Andreas. If you're referring to like when the thing happened, where because there was a story that broke about Richard Dreyfuss like leaving this event that everyone was quote unquote pissed off. They're like everyone walked out, but when you watch the footage that does exist, because you can't watch the whole thing, you don't see that at all, and you see him at the very end, him being applauded by a crowd. So it's like I don't know how many people walked out, but it was this story was put on blast. I think just because it looks like one of those things, and I could be wrong, but it looks like one of those. Speaking of Harry Potter, like one of those J.K. Rowling things where they're like, "Oh, he said something so hateful about trans issue stuff," but it looks like he didn't actually like say anything potentially, but what people already kind of know anyway, but they just can't stand to hear it. So yeah.
I love Mr. Holland's opus. I love the fact that like in Mr. Holland's opus, he basically replays the whole scene from like where he meets the aliens in Close Encounters of the Third Kind to his death son at a concert, like with the flashing lights and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but he sings "Beautiful Boy."
Oh, from John Lennon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember that movie that well, but it always kind of felt like that was like what they do at the Oscars for like a Lifetime Achievement Award. That was like a Lifetime Achievement movie. They're like, "Oh, Richard Dreyfuss, this is your time to shine."
Tom Hanks has had like 15 of those now.
Like, right, that's true.
They just keep giving them to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find the exact quotes from what he said at the event.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And like the clips that they give you, it's like I don't see it. I don't see the people mad. Like they say that he said something so terrible, but they won't tell you what it was that he said specifically. And then there's like clips of it, but none of those clips have anything offensive. They have him coming out in a dress and like he's like laughing or whatever. But I don't see any place where people aren't simply applauding him. So I'm just like, what? So what it looks like to me is that like 15 people walked out because they were offended, and that like everyone else stayed, and then those people went to the press and were like, he did something so terrible, but they won't tell you what it was exactly. Like, I mean, I'm open. Like, he could have said something super hateful. I'm not going to believe it until I see it literally, you know? Yeah. Or like have at least a transcript that sounds offensive.
Yeah, I don't see anything too offensive. I just see him saying, their quote is, "We have no knowledge of who the hell we are, and if we don't get it back soon, we're all gonna die." That's the worst.
He's also what, in his 80s? I mean, my God, that guy's got to be freaking old now at this point. I don't know.
He looks too healthy. He's got like a cane and everything.
What the hell? Look at him.
And it's about the fact that 50 years ago, without telling anyone,
Like he's still on the boat.
they took civics out of the curriculum of all public schools in America.
Yeah.
So what did he say? He said it's about the fact that 50 years ago, without telling anybody, they took civics out of the curriculum in public schools in America.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not the worst thing you can
say. I'm saying I watched this whole thing. I say this whole thing, but I think you only have like a total of like 8 minutes between this video and the other video.
This is like Running Man, you know, like this kind of thing where they just make it up a hole. Like he's a terrorist now because of
something that we don't even know what it was. It was just they're saying that he said something so terrible. I'm like, okay, what? Where is it? Yeah.
This 85-year-old man. We were outraged. We were outraged.
You're not getting with the times.
For 70 years, I've looked for this shark.